Quote, would you ask God to do for you that which you would not do for your brother? If you would, you are selfish, and know not God. For as ye do it unto the least of thy brethren, ye do it unto thine Maker. These are not mere words, they are that as ye will experience, if ye would know him at all. For he is not the past finding out, and if ye will know him, tune into him. Turn, look, hope, act in such a way that ye expect him, thy God, to meet thee face to face. Quote, be not afraid, it is I, end of quote, saith he that came to those seeking to know their relation with their Maker. And because he became walking into the night, in the darkness, even upon the waters, they were afraid. Yea, many of you become afraid because of the things that ye hear. For ye say, quote, I do not understand, I do not comprehend. End of quote. Why? Have ye so belittled thyself, thy body, thy mind, thy consciousness, that thou hast seared, that thou hast made of none effect whose opportunities within thine own consciousness to know thy Maker? Quote, then to all of you, purify thy body, thy mind, consecrate thyself in prayer, yes, but not as he that prayed. Quote, I thank thee I am not like other fellows. End of quote. Rather, let there be in thy heart the humbleness, for ye must humble yourself, if ye would know him. And come with an open, seeking, contrite heart, desirous of having the way shown to thee. End of quote. Quote, and when thou art shown, turn not thy face the other way, but be true to the vision that is given thee, and he will speak. For his promise has been, quote, when ye call I will hear, and will answer speedily. End of quote. Then, when he speaks, open thy heart, thy mind and the opportunities, to the glories that are thine, if ye will but accept them through that attuning through meditation of thy consciousness, thy desire to the living God, and say, and live within thyself as he of old gave, quote, others may do as they may, but as for me, I will worship, yea, I will serve the living God. End of quote. Quote, he is not far from thee, he is closer than thy right hand. He standeth at the door of thy heart. Will ye bid him enter, or will he turn away? Music of our choice may be used in the premeditative period. We may sit or lie down as we begin to quiet the mind. It is interesting to experiment with different types of music. Harp music, often mentioned in the readings, might be tried. Gregorian chants may often awake memories stored within the deep unconscious. The purpose of music is to sensitize the mind and emotion to the inner flow of devotion. This is the time for the head and neck exercises, the breathing exercises, and the chant. For thy prayer is a supplication or a plea to thy superior, yet thy meditation is that thou art meeting on common ground. Then prepare thyself. In breathing, Take into the right nostril strength. Exhale through the mouth. And take in thy left nostril, exhaling through the right. Opening the centers of thy body, if it is first prepared to thine own understanding, thine own concept of what ye would have if ye would have a visitor, if ye would have a companion, if ye would have thy bridegroom. Then as ye begin with the incantations of the A.R.E, raise these in thyself, and ye become close in the perseverance and the presence of thy Maker. And ye become close in the presence of thy Maker, as is shown in thyself. They that do such for selfish motives do so to their own undoing. Thus has it oft been said, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Wisdom, then, is fear to misapplied knowledge in thy dealings with thyself, thy fellow man. One of the most noticeable characteristics of the chant is the slur, the sliding from one note to another. The voice in an uncultured, natural state would change tones more in this manner than in distinctly separate pitches. When the voice moves in steps or noted intervals, it is functioning in imitation of an instrument. The nearest scale to the wailing quality of the natural voice is the Oriental scale, which moves in quarter notes. Begin with that which is Oriental. Let the mind become, as it were, attuned to such by the humming, producing those sounds of not as to become monotonous, but feel the essence of the incense through the body forces in its motion of body. This will open the Kundalini forces of the body. Then direct same to be a blessing to others. These arise from the creative centers of the body itself, and as they go through the various centers, direct same, else they may become greater disturbing than helpful. Surround self ever with that purpose. Not my will, O God, but thine be done ever. End of quote. And the entity will gain vision, perception, and, most of all, judgment. Because we can easily feel the vibrations from our own voices, the slur can give us a definite sensitivity to movement within the body. The ascending slur can be felt as vibrations moving upward. Then, either with the aid of a low music or the incantations of that which carries self deeper, deeper into the seeing, feeling, experiences of that image and the creative forces of love, enter into the Holy of Holies. As self feels or experiences the raising of this, see it disseminated through the inner eye. Then, listen to the music that is made as each center of thine own body responds to the new creative force that is being. Meditation is emptying self of all that hinders the creative forces from rising along the natural channels of physical man to be disseminated through those centers and sources that create the activities of the physical, the mental, the spiritual man. Properly done must make one stronger mentally, physically. With the awareness that one can raise his inner vibration by vocal attunement, one individual wanted to know that exact note. Question 21. What is the note of the musical scale to which I vibrate? Answer 21. Ah. This is not R, but ah. See? These are the sounds, those that respond to the center of the body, and opening the center so that the Kundalini forces arise. Sound these, and ye will find them in thyself. They that have wisdom are great. They that have understanding as to the manner to apply same for the good of self and others, not for self at the expense of others, but for others, as are in the awareness of the kingdom. There are certain notes to which there is a response, but it is always the same. No more than thy moods or thy tendencies, unless ye have arisen to the understanding of perfect attunement. He is within and beareth witness. The tone, then, find it in thyself, if ye would be enlightened. To give the tune or tone as do, ah, would mean little, unless there is the comprehending, the understanding of that to which ye are attempting to attune, in the spiritual, the mental, the material. There is harmony in a symphony, as in the voices as attuned to the infinite, a spirit, and a body poured out in aid or the search for the soul. Much of the information about chants come from the series of readings on prehistoric Egypt. This reading describes the Temple Beautiful and the use of chants there. Quote, written over the door of the Temple Beautiful. Lord, lead thou the way. I commit my body, my mind, to be one with thee. Quote, in giving a description that ye who seek might understand, and the association of that ye seek to accomplish in and with the bodies and the minds of those ye contact through the efforts and thy efforts in this direction. Know first, from that ye have had given thee the conditions that existed at that time. Many of you here were both in and of the temple service, whether in the purification in the temple of sacrifices or the temple beautiful. In the temple of sacrifice, there were the altars to cleanse the bodies of those things that hindered in the body, that were emblematic of the source of the stumbling blocks. In the temple beautiful, there were the expressions of the service as an activity to maintain and to purify the bodies for the necessary association of spiritual understanding in material bodies. End of quote. Quote, do not, my children, confuse thine bodies of today with those attributes of same, with the condition existent in the temple beautiful. End of quote. Quote, in structure, this, there had been gathered from all the nations of the earth that which represented from their environs, their surrounding, the most beautiful gift, that it might be a reminder of those to those that purified or gave themselves in service or activity there, of the beauty of service, of every land in this preparation of the bodies for their greater service and for their intermingling with those of the earth's environ, as well as enabling the servants, the workers, the priests, and the prophetesses, those that labored or joyously gave themselves, to give their activity for others. Quote, the materials outwardly were of the mountain nigh unto the upper waters of the Nile. Quote, it was in the form of the pyramid within which was the globe, which represented to those who served there a service to the world. End quote. Quote, the furnishings may be surmised from the fact that the most beautiful things from each land were gathered there: gold, silver, onyx, iron, brass, silk, satins, linen. End of quote. Quote, as to the manner of the service there, the individuals, having cleansed themselves of those appendages that hindered, came not merely for the symbolic understanding, for these, to be sure, were all symbolized: the faults, the virtues of man, and all his 7 stages of development, and the light or the lamp borne by those who served by the light bearers to those who had entered for their initiation or for their preparations to be that as given by teachers, even Rata. Quote, laying aside those things that easily beset the sons of men, ye, as ye enter here, put thy whole trust in the one God, that ye may be all things unto men, all men, thereby crucifying thine own desires, that they, thy brethren, may know the Lord their God. End of quote. Quote, in the activities then, there were the first songs, the music, as we have indicated, that ye sing, A.R.E, which makes for the losing of even the association of the body with that save the vibration of which the body was then composed, yea, now is, though encased in a much more hardened matter, as to materiality, which made for the vibrating of the same with light. That becomes color, that becomes tone, that becomes activity. End of quote. Quote, seek then in tone, all of you, A.R.E, that ye may know how the emanations that are termed as the colors of the body make for the expressions then given. With the music came then the dance that enabled those with the disturbing forces and influences to become more erect, upright in body, in thought, in activity. End of quote. Quote, then there was the giving by the prophetesses of the seal of life that was set upon each and every one who passed through these experiences, how or in what field of activity the relationships were of an individual to its fellow man in maintaining material existence, being in the world yet not of the world. End of quote. Quote, these, then, made for that as ye have in thine experiences in the present expressed, first in cleanliness and purifying of the body, in the washing in blood, in water, that ye may be purified before thyself first, and then before others. The anointing with the incense, making for the rising or raising of that which ye know as thine sense of perception or consciousness of the activities to all the faults by comparison as arose among others. End quote. From those activities yet have that first as thine service of preparation, of birth, of consecration, of purification, of those things that latter become the hospitalization, the care of the ill in body, in mind, the divination of those tempted from within and those tempted from without. Little study is made in the present of this phase of man's experience. End quote. Quote, the teaching, the preparation, the ministering, the song, the music, the activities that give expression, arise in man's experience from those activities in the temple beautiful. End quote. Quote, ye ask, where is this now? Disintegrated, and in that sphere ye may enter, and some have entered, where these are sealed as with the 7 seals of the law, in that these experiences now become as those of thine activities among thy fellow man. End quote. Quote. Then, in using and in applying and associating same with thine activities in that experience, and that manner in which ye may use same in the present. End quote. Quote. So attune thyself that ye may hearken, not as to an experience only, but rather live and be the experience in the hearts of those that are seeking to find their way, whether in the troubles of the body, of the mind, or whether they are lost among those turmoils of the cry, quote, this way, that way, end quote, here and there. Be the experience to someone to light their lives, their bodies, their minds, to be thy living Lord, thy brother, thy Christ. For he has promised in his words in thine own heart that keeps the hope, that keeps the fires of thine own heart aflame. Quote, ye finding me may know the joy of the Lord. End quote. Quote. As many of you served there, as many experienced those purifications for an active service among their fellow man in an individual experience, so may ye purify thy mind and thy body, or purify thy bodies, that thy mind may put on Christ, the garments of the living Lord, that ye may be not as one stumbling, as one's fearful of this or that, but sure and certain in the joys of the risen Lord. That indeed thy body is an expression, may be the temple beautiful for thy living Lord. End quote. Quote, he thy brother, thy Christ, hath given that God is God of the living way. He is life. He is love. He is beauty. He is harmony. He is music. He is rhythm of the body in the dance that is a service to thy God. Though others make slight of thy manner of speech, of thy body, of thy walks, of thy ways, hold fast to him, grudging no one, loving all, for as given in thy preparation, in the indication and the vindication in thine service there, self is lost in the love of thy fellow man through the joy of the Lord in thee. End quote. And from same comes that interest in harmony and color, as does the surrounding of that, as was the call from the stations of the third position in the Temple Beautiful. These, as they may be sounded within, not just the vocal box, but the physical, but as they rise among the centers from the bodily forces to unite the activities, the entity may bring greater harmony within. The purpose of meditation is attunement to the divine within. Chants which help to unite the vibrations throughout the body aid this attunement. The 7 spiritual centers, which correlate with the endocrine glands, are especially stimulated by the internal vibrations thus set up, and are consequently coordinated in their functions. This activity, in turn, works towards, quote, the attunement of the mental and physical body in their source, end quote. That the vibrations of certain sounds have definite healing effects was specified in the answers of the following question. Question 11. Any specific compositions that can be used for healing? Answer 11. R and O and M are those combinations which vibrate to the center forces of the body itself. In any composition of which these are a part will be found that necessary for the individual. One woman was told that the continued use of music and meditation would assure her spiritual development. As she was ready for succeeding steps, the help would come, quote, from within, end quote. Question 4. Is there any suggestion that will help entity in her progress of developing her spirituality and physicality? Answer 4. As the entity turns more and more through music for the attuning of self, as music becomes the meditation period for the entity, the abilities to turn to the activities becomes possible. A word was given in the readings which, used as a chant or spoken with feeling, can assist a person in attaining an awareness of his infinite reality. Question 4. Give meaning and pronunciation of the word Yad-he Vahe. Answer 4. Java, meaning the ability within itself to know itself, to be itself, and yet be one, or one apart from the infinite. To be a part of that realm of the helpers, to know self as a part of and in that realm where the angels are, or in that realm of the individuals who have been, who are, with the announcer, the Lord of the way, and who have attained the consciousness of the Christ within. Recently, there has been an upsurge of interest in chanting, largely activated by groups which teach the Eastern techniques of meditation. It is often the practice to give the student his own mantram or chant. The mantram are 2 types, those which are vowel sounds, as the and those which express an intellectual concept, such as Hare Krishna. These mantra should not be used for long periods of time at one sitting until the student has purified his body and mind, the basis of all yoga practices. The complexity of such purification should be apparent. The material given through Edgar Cayce on the Chants and Meditations is different from the Eastern approach. It is geared to the diet and exercise of the Western man and woman. Are there then no mystical mantras for the West? There are indeed. These great expressions of consciousness are found in hymns of the people.